We love the women's ministry. Yes, we do. We love being a part of the women's ministry. Yes, we do. And we love leading the women's ministry. Yes, we do. Today, I want us to look at the Christ like kind of leadership. The Christ like kind of leadership. According to the Bible definition of leadership, is that a leader is simply somebody that models after Christ. And Christ himself put it very well in John 5, verse 19, that I tell you the truth, the Son of Man can do nothing by himself. He only does what he sees his Father do. And also, Paul also tells us in the word that imitate me as I imitate Christ. Imitate me as I imitate Christ. So, what is the Christ like kind of leadership? A leadership that we as Christians, as women that have been called into leading the women's ministry, should imitate after. This is something that we're going to look at today. It doesn't matter what kind of, a group you are leading. It could be a small group of three, it could be a group in the church, or even a group of 1,000 women that you have been called into leading. The leadership style is simply the same. There are so many examples that we can get from Christ kind of leadership, but I'm just going to list very few today that will just help us as we, as a guide as we step into leading the women's ministry, especially for those that are stepping into the women's ministry and they want to know how to lead the women's ministry. Well, the way to lead the women's ministry is to simply do what the Father does, or to imitate after Christ himself. When he came down on this earth, he demonstrated those kind of leadership acts so that we too, as we are leading others, should imitate after them. And so, number one is a servant leadership. Jesus demonstrated the servant kind of leadership by him stooping low and washing the disciples' feet. Imagine the owner, the creator of the heavens and the earth. Jesus himself washed the dust of the disciples' feet. This was considered as a servant of the job, the least jobs of the servant. And what does that look like for you in the women's ministry? If you have to teach, teach. If you have to mentor, mentor. If you have to set up a small group, start it. You are doing that yourself. You are stooping low to doing the list of the list in the women's group by you yourself doing counseling. You do it yourself. You're doing service projects or even event planning. Let's say you're planning for a baby shower in the women's ministry. You are planning for an outing. Um, you're planning for a picnic or anything else, that will bring the women together. You are stooping low to doing that kind of service, the servant kind of leadership. You are leading others. The second one is compassion and love. Jesus showed compassion and love in what he did. He advocated for forgiveness. He advocated for reconciliation. He was on top of the game. He offered compassion and love. And what would that look like for you in the women's ministry that you are leading? You are helping young women amongst you. You are helping the older women amongst you that are dealing with certain kinds of challenges. You are offering spiritual support. You are even offering financial or physical needs, either clothes and food or shelter, or even prayer, gathering together to pray and, and help people deal through struggles. I remember you know in our leadership, in our women's ministry, whenever somebody has lost somebody, that they're close to, that they love, and they do not have enough finances to help deal with the funeral expenses, we would go around our community asking for whatever donations people might have, or even, let's say cornmeal food to cook at the funeral home, or just simply a woman comes to you and they don't have, the needs that they need, and you are there to offer it if you have, or to mobilize your fellow women to help the women amongst you that are in need. Or maybe a baby shower. A young woman has a baby and she has some needs, or she's going through some challenges, either in her marriage or in her education. You are there as a women's ministry to offer that compassion and love to the women. Maybe there are differences in the women's group. You are there as a leader, as to bring reconciliation amongst the women, forgiveness, teach forgiveness amongst the women. That is so important. And, you know, almost every women's group have differences, within them, but we are there to offer that compassion and love. We are there to advocate for love, for forgiveness, and for reconciliation, and also helping those that are dealing with challenges, coming through to help them and cope with, whatever they're coping with, they're dealing with, and offering prayer and support to those that I need. The third one is counseling, offering emotional support. So many women are emotionally stressed out, and you as a leader is there to offer that kind of emotional support. You are there to do home visits for those that need to be visited in their homes, hospital visits, those women amongst us that are sick in hospitals, or they have their loved ones that are sick in hospital. You just go there to visit them. You offer them maybe flowers or gifts of encouragement. Those that need counseling, they're dealing with their marriage issues. You are there to offer counseling, spiritual counseling in this matter. You are there to offer that kind of counseling to those that need it. I'm not saying you take up the professionals of the pros. If something need the professional kind, you know, if a situation needs an experienced person in the field, you can delegate that person to the person that is experienced in that field. But when it comes to spiritual support and emotional support, if you are able to help that person, deal with whatever they're dealing with, you are there to offer that spiritual counseling to them. Don't hold it back. Offer it. Number four is humility. And, Jesus demonstrated that kind of humility by him coming from heaven, coming into this earth through, the Virgin Mary, and, walking among us the sinners, taking the very form of humanity. Taking the form of humanity and dealing with the struggles that humanity deals with. And so, Philippians 2, verse 6 and 8, in your own time, you can read that about how Christ, came down, stooped very low to deal with we, the people that were in need, the poor amongst him that were in need. He associated with, the marginalized. He associated with the tax collectors. He also associated with women that were segregated. In this case, we are looking at the Samaritan woman that, people didn't want to mix with, fellow women didn't want to be around her because of what she did. And Jesus went directly for her. And so we find in the Bible Jesus being found amongst these people that needed help, that were poor in spirit. And he was there. He was humble enough, to be around them and help them deal with whatever they were dealing with. It's the same thing for us in our women's ministry. We should also be there to help, you know, to be humble enough to walk in the shoes that some of the women in our ministry are dealing with. Walk in their shoes, I feel how it feels. Maybe you have never been in their position. You don't know what they're feeling, but you humble yourself enough to try to look at the issues that they're dealing with from their angle and see how you can just Be there to offer the service of humility to the women that need it in your group. Number five, we're looking at leading by example. Imitate me as I imitate Christ. Paul said, and Jesus said himself that I only follow what, you know, I see what my father does. And so you are grooming a number of women in your group. Some you know, some you don't know of, but they're following you. They're following every move. Nowadays, that we even have social media, they're following your private life and they're seeing. And so you lead by example, not only in the ministry setting, but also in your personal life. How you take care of yourself, how you take care of those that are in marriage, how you take care of your marriage, how you take care of your families, how you do whatever you do. You are leading by example. Even in the women's ministry, you are praying, you are leading prayer. They are seeing your prayership, your prayer lifestyle. You are leading Bible studies. You are doing the leadership services that are needed to be done in your group. You are leading by example. You want the people to imitate you as you are imitating Christ. So you make sure that you lead by example. You represent God and you represent Him good, so that those that are coming behind you are going to follow after you. You don't want that women's ministry to die when you step out of office. We see in most cases, not only women's ministry, but other churches, other ministries, other organizations. If the founder of the organization dies, then the whole organization crumbles. Or we find the founder of the church dies and the church splits and scatters. It's not supposed to be the case. You, as a leader, should lead by example so that even after you're gone, that ministry will still continue. Many other women will step up and lead exactly the way you led. If your ministry that God called you into lasted, even the people that are going to take after you are going to make sure that that ministry is going to last. So in our homes as mothers, we lead by examples because we want our daughters, when they grow, to do the very things that we did. And so we're careful to lead our lives very well because we want our daughters to make it in their marriages, to make it in their ministry. It's the same thing in the women's ministry. You want to lead by example. Why? Because you want that ministry to last and you want to draw as many women as possible to the saving knowledge of Christ. So, this is very important. Very important. Number six, prioritizing. Prioritizing other other people's needs, before your very own. Jesus demonstrated by dying on the cross, not for his sake. He did it for our sake. He gave his life for our sake. What does that look for you in the women's ministry? You prioritize other women's need before your very own need. They need prayer. Pray for them. Seek God on their behalf. They need the word of God. Go out of your way. Study the word and study it deep so that when you are teaching, no stone is left unturned. You teach the gospel and you teach it real good. You make sure that those amongst you, the women amongst you that need the full knowledge of the gospel, have it. Those that need help, they get it. Those that need spiritual support, they get it. And you are there making sure that their needs, their spiritual needs, are met before your very own. Number seven, encouragement and challenge. Oh, Jesus was so good at encouraging. Whenever we're down, we go to the Bible, so many scriptures about encouragements. When one is down, the others is there to help them up. You are there to encourage women. You are there to encourage them. You'll find so many women in your group, those that need encouragement in their marriage, encouragement in their prayer lives, encouragement in their, study of the word on how to take care of their own families, many, kind of needs. That's why you're coming together, so that you help one another. When one is down, the other one is there to help the other down up. Women are there for each other, to support, to offer support and help to one another. And so you were there encouraging them, cheering them on. They haven't reached to your level yet, but you want to make sure that they reach up to your level, especially in the spiritual things, because that's why you are there. And so you want to make sure that, okay, before I step down, these women need to know the word of God. And there are those that they feel discouraged, they want to fall out, they feel like they can never learn the word, they feel like they can never learn how to pray. But you were there to encourage them that yes, they can do it. Yes, you can learn the word of God. Yes, you can pray. You challenge them to do some things that they think that they can never be able to do. You challenge them into doing it, and you find that those women around you, they are getting strengthened, strengthened in their spiritual lives, strengthened in their own private lives. Why? Because you are there challenging them to do something that they have never done before. You want them to reach that finished line. It's like, look at it in a race. you know, uh, we have runners and we have supporters, and supporters cheer on because they're encouraging the people that are in the race to reach that finish line. And so, let's say one of the people that are running, the participants in a race, are slacking behind a little bit. And if there are family amongst them, family begins to cheer on, yes, you can, yes, you can. The runner will have so much strength such that they will run and even outrun some people and reach to the finish line. So that is you. That's one of your main job as a leader in the women's ministry. You are, you are encouraging the women that do not know the word of God to learn the word of God, the women that do not know how to lead to learn how to lead. You are challenging them. Yes, you can read. Yes, you can read the whole Bible in the whole year. Yes, you can, you can help your family, get out of their spiritual struggles that they are going through. Yes, you can. Some that even need to go to physical school. Like, yes, you can still go back to school. You can still pass. You can still start up something. You can start up a business. You are encouraging them and you are challenging them to do the very things that they thought that they can never be able to do. Yes, you can. Number 8, focus on relationships. Focus on relationship. Most of the times we find that we are so busy, we don't even want to check on the women. We don't want to build relationships with them. You are like, my duty is just to pray and to pray for them and teach them the word, and that's it. Nothing else. But also, it matters to check on them, build a relationship with them. For example, if you know this woman, loves to do this kind of thing, you try to build a relationship with them in that manner. Oh, how is the family? Oh, how is your teaching? How do you teach? What do you do? You just try to build a relationship with them. Like God, this whole world is so vast, but we are all God's children, and we also have a personal relationship with Christ. I know you might not be able to, for those that are leading mega churches, but you can build a relationship with the leaders, and the leaders can build relationship with the teams that they lead in their small group. But if it is a small setting, you are able to build relationships with each of the women that is in your group. If you are able to do that, build a personal relationship. Call them sometime outside church service hours. Check on them, check on how they're doing, find out more of what they're doing, what they're involved in. You are building a relationship with them. There are so many other, leadership skills that God, that Jesus himself demonstrated in the Bible. And these are one of the most important ones that we have looked at today, that will help start up the women's ministry, that will help sustain the women's ministry. And your leadership should be that of a visionary style. The visionary leadership is the leadership that you prepare the fellow leaders in your women's ministry or the women's ministry for now and also for the future. You want your women's ministry that you have planted, that you have begun, to stand the test of time. You will not be there. You either receive a call to go early to Christ home, or maybe you will move to another location, but make sure that something that you have started should last. The ministry that you have started should stand the test of time. You do not want to die with your vision. You want to give the women the vision of where you are going as a ministry. Even you, as you are starting it, you have to have that vision to see where the ministry is going. Nobody wants to see what they have started die, crumbles, and fails. We all want to see what we have started to grow and to stand the test of time. And so we have that visionary leadership style. Like Jesus did when he came, he made sure he trained the disciples. He soared his vision to the disciples, and the disciples carried on. And the gospel, more than 2,000 years later, keeps on spreading, and it will still spread until Jesus comes. You can do the very best. You can go an extra mile. We have got leaders in the faith that have gone before us, and their teachings are still living on. Their ministry is still going on. And so have that same visionary kind of leadership, such that everything that we have looked into, if you practice them in your women's ministry, you will see a change. It is not too late for those that feel like they have already made some mistakes, but they are still leading this women's group. You can start today. You can apply this leadership styles of Christ, and you can revive your women's ministry. It is very, very important that we pour ourselves out into these ministries that God has called us into, and Christ himself has already told us. He has already given us an example. He demonstrated it himself when he came down on the face of this earth. As long as you imitate what the Father does, what Jesus Christ did, your women's ministry will stand the test of time. Your leadership style will never be the same. You are going to reach as many women as possible with a saving knowledge of Christ, and you are going to train as many leaders as possible to imitate after you as you imitate after Christ. So lead your ministry and lead it well. Love you all, and thank you for joining today. If you have been blessed by these teachings, I can say uh, you can help me by subscribing to my channel and also leaving a comment, so that, and also pressing the thumb button, yes, so that this video can reach as many women in ministry as possible, so that we can save the whole women